Brilliance Audio presents Poisoned Love, the true story of ER nurse Chaz Higgs, his ambitious wife, and a shocking murder. By Carlton Smith. Performed by Joyce Bean. By 6:30, the first rays of the morning sun were well over the rim of the Shadow Hills, the eastern desert starting side of the lush mountain valley known as Truckee Meadows. At 4,400 feet above sea level, the valley floor was still cool from the overnight chill, and as the early light crept up the eastern wall of the small house at 9673 Otter Way, it seemed like the dawn of just another beautiful summer day in the one-time biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. To the west, the peaks of the Sierras towered over the city, clad with evergreens along the ridges, guarded by rocky spines higher up, already golden in the unfiltered glow from the east. The Truckee River, the jewel of the meadows, rushed down its gorge from Lake Tahoe through the city, rolling north to its disappearance in Pyramid Lake, sunk in the desolation of northern Nevada. The town that had begun 150 years before as a rickety bridge across a fast-running stream had turned into a fine place to live for more than 350,000 people. At 6:43, one of those people, William Charles Higgs, known to his wife, his friends, and his co-workers as Chaz, punched 911 on a telephone in the same Otter Way house and calmly requested medical assistance. "It's my wife," Higgs told the 911 dispatcher, George Reed. "I don't know what's happened to her. She's not breathing." He'd attempted CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, Higgs said, but he couldn't get a pulse. Higgs gave Reed detailed instructions on how to get to Otter Way, what streets to take, where to turn. "How long do you think you're going to be?" Higgs asked. "She's not responding at all. I don't know what happened to her. I came back in the room and she was sleeping. She has a mitral valve prolapse, was feeling really stressed the last month or so." As far as Reed could tell, it didn't sound as though Higgs was actually doing any CPR. Usually, he could hear callers gasping between delivering bits of needed information. The telephone went silent. Not disconnected, just put down unattended. Within 6 minutes, an emergency team from the Reno Fire Department had arrived at the house, followed seconds later by 2 paramedics from the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, also known as REMSA. The REMSA paramedics saw a man outside waving them on. Breaking to a stop, they rushed inside where they encountered 4 firemen in a small master bedroom. There, lying on her back in the bed, a woman in a tank top and pajama bottoms appeared to be dead. The firemen removed her from the bed and put her on the floor, where paramedics Ben Pratt and Manny Fuentes began resuscitation attempts. Pratt saw that the woman was not breathing and had no pulse, just as he'd been advised by the 911 dispatcher. In fact, her heart had stopped and her pupils were fixed and dilated. But Pratt refused to give up. He inserted a plastic intubation tube into her throat to make sure the airway was clear, while his partner Fuentes began artificial respiration with a hand bellows. Bagging, it was called. Pratt put an intravenous line into the woman's right arm and injected her with epinephrine, and started a second line in the left arm for atropine, 2 drugs which had the effect of stimulating the heart muscle. Then Pratt began a series of chest compressions in a desperate effort to get the woman's heart and lungs going again. At about 6:50 a.m., Kathy Augustine, the Nevada State Controller and one of the Silver State's most colorful and controversial political figures, came back to life, or at least her heart began to beat once more, although she remained unconscious. Her husband, William Charles Higgs, himself a critical care nurse by occupation, stood in the doorway of the bedroom and watched stoically as Pratt and Fuentes accomplished the seemingly impossible. Kathy Augustine was alive. Barely, it was true, but nevertheless, a living person once again.